guys, so today's How to Be Happy January is going to be a little more casual. I am chilling outside. It is insanely beautiful weather outside, and it's kind of crazy because I know that like other places in the country are having like, I guess a polar vortex, or I don't know what it's called, but that thing where everyone on like Instagram is throwing water up in the air and it's freezing. But it's crazy because we are having really nice weather out today. So I felt like filming outside, and I actually just got back. We were, my mom and I were running around like looking at places to move. You probably already know that if you're on our vlog channel that we're trying to figure out where we want to move to. We're still gonna stay within Santa Clarita, but we need a little bigger space. So I just got back from doing that, and I shot out on Twitter today's question for How to Be Happy January. And you already know what it is from the title, and you might be wondering how that fits into How to Be Happy January. And the reason why I chose it is because I think that a lot of YouTube viewers are also content creators on some kind of level, and some people do it for fun, some people really want to make money out of it, and either way, I think that it is something really cool that can add a level of happiness. I know for me, it obviously changed my whole life, so it definitely has a big aspect of happiness there. So this might be kind of strange, but if you do make content, I'm hoping that this will be helpful to you. So I asked on Twitter like what you guys want to know about being a YouTuber. I feel like it's kind of this unknown like job, and the goal of this video is to kind of explain to you guys what it's like, and if you are making videos, maybe how to take it to the next level or explain some of the lingo or whatever. I'm obviously not the biggest fish in the sea here, but this is my full-time job and we make a full-time income off of it. So I do have like something to offer to you guys, or to hopefully give you guys some information. So I'm gonna jump right in, but if there's anything I forget in this video, go ahead and comment down below, because I am gonna be obviously scanning the comments, and I don't know, there's a good chance I could miss something. Also, this video is not really gonna be a history as to how I started YouTube, or even a whole ton about subscriber growth. I am going to link down below and within this annotation a link to 2 other videos. I put it in 2 parts that I did called How YouTube Became My Job. And the reason is because that is a 2-parter, and the first part is entirely on how I got into this and how I grew subscribers. So what this video really is gonna be is more of the business end of YouTube, as well as the Twitter questions that you have sent to me. Also, before we jump right in, these videos are sponsored by Netflix.com. If you use the link netflix.com/Nikki, you get a free 30-day trial to Netflix, unlimited streaming, television, movies. I love it, you guys know, and that will be down below. So, with that being said, let's jump right in. So, with that long intro being done, I am gonna jump right in. And this is just gonna be like very conversational, very chill. Just like I'm talking to a friend about YouTube stuff. So I'm gonna open up my Twitter. So because I told you guys I'm kind of taking this how I go, I think I just decided the way I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna answer some of these Twitter questions, and they're probably gonna take me a little tangents to you guys. Because yeah, I wasn't quite sure how to format that. So the first Twitter question I think is kind of a good way to just jump right in, like a cold pool. I don't know how that fits at all, but hey. From @Erica Lisa, and she said, how do you earn a living making videos? Through ads or sponsorships or both? So, okay, both. And I remember when I first started YouTube, there was a girl, her name is Lisa, and I think if you just YouTube or Google to create a website, she will pop up. And I remember she said something when I first started that really stuck with me, and I have found to be so true. In order to make a living off the internet, you have to like diversify. And what that means is typically not one thing is gonna just like make you rich. Like most people don't just like roll in the dough from AdSense or roll in the dough from Amazon affiliates or whatever, but they are so diverse and they're making money from so many different avenues that is how you create a full-time income. So the way that I personally make an income, and by the way, I didn't preface this in the beginning, this is all based off personal experience. So different YouTubers do things different ways. A lot of us do a lot of the same things. I mean, a lot of people do affiliate links, sponsorships, you know, AdSense, all that kind of stuff, but I'm not speaking on like behalf of anyone else on YouTube. I feel like that's kind of obvious, but I just wanted to actually say that out loud. So for me personally, some of the ways that I made money within this last year, the first and foremost, the most obvious one is through AdSense. And AdSense can now be enabled for anyone that makes videos. So you don't have to be like a partner. Before, you had to actually go through this whole application process. You had to be approved, and then they would run ads on your videos. Now, as far as I understand, anyone can run ads on their videos and make money for views. Now, that being said, it is very hard to make a good amount of money off of AdSense because the payout is so low. There's something, and you can look this up. I mean, if I mess anything up, but yeah, I don't even know why I'm making excuses for myself. There's something called a CPM, and what that means is that is the rate that you are paid per 1,000 views. Now, not only, even if I did have a set rate, I wouldn't be able to tell you because when you sign with Google, you're not like legally allowed to tell people. But I don't have a set rate because really nobody has a set rate unless they sign with a network and get a set rate. That CPM, the amount that you are paid per 1,000 views, fluctuates throughout the day as Google sells ads to run on your channel. And what those ads are, they range from the little banner ads you see at the bottom of the videos to commercials that play before the videos, those pre-rolls. Which, side note, by the way, the ones that you're forced to watch that you can't skip, they don't pay as much as the skippable ads. Most people skip ads, but if the person chooses to watch and not skip, the content creator, so the YouTuber, ends up making more money because that view to the advertiser is worth more because the person was willing to watch, if that makes sense. So anyways, that CPM, that rate per 1,000, fluctuates throughout the day, like literally by the hour. So when I was not a part of a network and I could actually log into my Google AdSense account, I remember I would check for my cell phone like all throughout the day. I would refresh my page and be like, how much did I make this hour? And you could make anywhere from, literally guys, like 2 cents. Like when I first started, I had like 2 cent CPMs because I didn't have a track record on YouTube. So there were no advertisers like trying to advertise on my video that was getting 10 views and I had only been on YouTube for like a week. So it was like 2 cents per 1,000 views. It can range from like that low all the way up to like $14, $15, $16, sometimes a lot more than that depending on the type of content you create. Now, the way that Google runs ads on your videos is based around not just the content you create, but the words that surround your videos. So this is just a tip. If you are wanting to get paid more for your ads, it is really important to be descriptive in the words that surround your videos because Google is it's a machine. It's programs, and the program can't watch your video and tell what's going on. It scans it for words. Even if it could, it's something crazy like 72 hours of footage are uploaded to YouTube per minute. So it scans the video for words and it places ads against your content that are relevant to the words that surround your video. Now, you don't want to lie. You really want to be, like, a good way is to not only fill out the tags, but to also fill out the description. So to write a little like paragraph saying like in this video, and to be really descriptive about what is in that video. Now, if you're wanting to get really specific tags and you're trying to get traction, I'm kind of like segueing off ads now, but just traction and views for it. It's kind of the same thing. A good thing to do is to optimize your tags. Meaning, if you go up to the search bar and you're like, I think I'm gonna write this in the tags, but is anyone searching for that? You can type it into like the little search bar and stuff will pop up and you will see what people are searching for. So you might think this tag is awesome, but you might type it into the search bar and be like, oh, I guess it's not that awesome because no one is looking for that tag. I have found that, but then I end up finding all these other tags that are totally relevant to my video, but worded in a certain way that people are searching for. So then you know when you fill in your tags, like, oh, you know, this is definitely being searched for. I'm not just guessing. So, yeah, so AdSense. Sorry, guys, I told you this is going to be like a giant monologue all over the map. And this is my full-time job, so I've been in it. So I realize some of these words, it might be like weird, like industry lingo. So if you're confused on anything, like I said, comment down below. Either I will answer or, you know, like I said, a lot of viewers are content creators. So someone might answer in the comments as well. So, AdSense, that is the first way that I make money. The next way that I make money is through branded content, or some people might call it sponsorships or content like product integration. And it really works for the type of content I create because I naturally create content that often, like I often mention like products or clothes or, yeah, that's the end of my sentence. So because that's already stuff that I do, I'm a good fit for brands. And also because like I want to have a brand someday. So it makes sense. Bowser, dude, I swear he goes crazy when people come downstairs. Bowser, no, I gotta have a sip of water. So the way that branded content works, and I'm gonna try to explain this the best that I can because it really jumps the map. Everyone has different rates. It really depends on like your click-through rate. What your click-through rate is when you have a link for a company and you put it in your info box, how many people actually click through. So I can't get too specific on rates, but let me kind of explain to you with branded content like how I do it and what it looks like for most YouTubers. So what happens is when a brand would want to work for me, they would reach out to me, or they would reach out to my network, which I will talk about networks in a minute, or maybe your management or whatever. It kind of just varies for different people. And they say, hey, we want to pay you to do a video, to mention the video or to mention this product. For me, what happens from that step is I either already know the brand and I already know I know the product. Like let's say Aussie reached out to me. It's like, I already know, dude, I'm obsessed with the Aussie 3-minute hair miracle, whatever it's called. I already know that I like your stuff. Or it's like, okay, cool, like that rate is worth it and your product seems awesome. Can you send me the product so I can try and then I'll get back to you? And I take it from there. And after that, like it really just depends what happens next for the next step. So let's say that I try the product and I go, dude, this product is awesome. Yeah, let's work together. Then they would negotiate a rate and we would figure out terms. So this is also where it gets kind of broad. I feel like I'm not being specific enough, but it's just because it varies for everyone. So for me personally, if I said, yes, that's great, let's do it, let's do this video, then we would figure out how the thing is gonna work. Sometimes brands do things where they pay for like mentions, which to be honest, I think almost every single product integration that I've done has been a mention, not a sole product review, for a few different reasons. First one being that, geez, like that's a lot of attention to put a whole video on one product, and I just really would have to love that product. I mean, I rarely ever do a video like on my own either about one specific product, so nothing has ever really fit yet. I'm not close to that, but it hasn't really fit. And then also the rate has to be right, and this is something that is kind of this like awkward little teetering line that I think a lot of YouTubers are walking, because I think everybody who is into YouTube knows, or anything on the internet realizes, that entertainment is going more towards the digital sides of things. Like even television, it's like most people have like a DVR that they can forward or record. So many people are going towards digital, and what's starting to happen is, let's say a company wants to advertise for a commercial on television. They would have to pay, and I know this because I come from an entertainment background, or at least from what I've experienced so far, a company would have to pay a lot of money to make a commercial. They have to hire a casting director. They have to hire maybe a company to come up with the actual marketing campaign. They have to hire the actors. They have to hire the director, the DP, the set, the makeup artist, the hair artist, and that's just to produce the commercial. So we're talking a lot of money. Like, I actually wish I had a number to throw out there, but like the cost of a new car, I don't know. It can vary, new cars can vary, but we're talking about a lot of money. And then once you actually have the commercial, to actually run that commercial on television is very, very, very expensive. And what's kind of happening with YouTube is it's starting to get to the point where there is this weird line of like, I won't rep a product that I do not like, but that being said, I don't work with brands that don't understand the value of YouTube either. I would rather not make as much and do stuff for myself for free that I've picked up at the drugstore than do work with a company who either doesn't understand the value of it or does understand the value of it, but they think that we don't. So they're like, oh, here's $100. And I realize that sounds really, really strange to some people. Like, it's like, geez, it's $100. I know, $100 is like almost a car payment, but it's really what is going on in the industry, and a matter of trying to like kind of, I don't know, elevate and help the entertainment industry kind of segue and understand the value of digital marketing. So I am getting off on like such a like tangent, and I don't even know how I got into that. But branded content, that is how I work. I try a brand, I see if I like it. If I do, we take it from there. And the crazy part is that a lot of people I don't know why you guys would know this. A lot of people don't know this, but I don't know why you would know this because we don't like open up our email box and show you. But most YouTubers turn down like 90% of the things that they're offered because everyone's really careful about what they accept. So it's kind of, but it's kind of funny to see like sometimes certain people will get like some hate for working with a brand, and it's like, oh, if you only knew they actually really like this brand, they turn down so much. So it's this weird like, YouTube is becoming an actual income and job for people, and it's kind of this weird like balancing act, figuring all of it out. And yeah, so another way that people make income off of YouTube or the internet, anywhere in general, is something called affiliate links. This is super easy to explain. I use a lot of Amazon affiliate links, and I learned about Amazon affiliate links actually from April Athena 7. She was the first one to tell me about them, and it's essentially, it's super easy to explain. It's like commission. So when I'm talking about a product, if I'm like, oh yeah, I talked about this mascara in the video, I make sure to go down and link all the products that I mentioned in my video, and I get my links off Amazon. So if someone happens to go to Amazon and purchase products or purchase the product, I get a percentage. And I think my starting percentage was 6%. And you start to make more percent as you sell stuff. And I think I'm at like 7.5% or something like that, which is really random. But the cool thing about Amazon is that people don't have to buy what you've linked to make money. So Amazon rewards people for just going to the site. So let's say you clicked on a link, you're like, yeah, I'll check out that body lotion that Nikki was talking about. And you click it. If you didn't want to buy the body lotion and you ended up wandering off, but then you got like sucked into the Amazon vortex and you bought something else, I receive a percentage off of the other item you bought, because Amazon tracks people's IP addresses, so it knows like, hey, you got here through Nikki, so thanks Nikki, here's 7%. So that's the way Amazon works. All affiliate programs operate differently, but if you are a content creator that is interested in affiliate programs, all you have to do really is Google affiliate programs, and dude, so many companies have it. Sephora has it, Target has it. To be honest, most retail websites are starting to get to the point that they have it, because that's how they get their traction. That's a lot of the ways that that's not like the only way, but that's one way that they get a lot of business. And it's cool because it's win-win. So we can push business to companies that we like, and I'm tongue-tied. And we get a commission and they get the business. That's all I'm trying to say. I got a little tongue-tied. It's been a long day. So there was something else. Oh, the other thing I wanted to touch briefly on is networks. Now, my friend Katie was recently in town, and she's been on YouTube for a while, but when we were talking, she had never heard of networks. She didn't know what they were. And I feel like a lot of people do know what networks are now, but some people still don't know what networks are. And what they basically are is they are like old Hollywood's version of like a studio that kind of handles everything, at least at this point. So there's a ton of different networks out there: Makers, Big Frame, Full Screen, Revision 3, and then the list goes on and on and on. There are a lot of networks now, and they're starting to kind of pop up more frequently. And what they basically do is they represent you, so like publicity wise, like if Good Day LA wanted to do something with one of their YouTubers, the network would kind of negotiate things and set it up, and then the network would call the YouTuber and be like, hey, Good Day LA wants you to come, do you want to do this? These are the details. A network often negotiates product like deals. So if someone reached out to me and said, hey Nikki, we want to work with you, and let's say they didn't reach out to my network, they reached out to me, we want to work with you on this campaign, I would go, great, I'm forwarding you to my network. And yeah, they're really great. Being with a network for me has pretty much been a very positive experience. When I joined the network, our entire income changed, and it has been really awesome. Now, the downside to being to a network, I'm going to be honest, I would not recommend networks for everyone because most networks have quite a few clients. They represent quite a few people. And when you sign a contract, usually a network takes a percentage of your AdSense. So that being said, if you are a pretty established YouTuber, I think going with a network can be a really cool thing because you were already established enough to where them taking a percentage of your AdSense isn't really going to matter that much because they're also doing a whole lot of other work for you. They're bringing you ad deals, they're doing like publicity stuff, they're doing other stuff that it's like, okay, you can take a percentage of that. But I've known of people who have signed with networks when they were too small or they didn't have enough of a specific niche yet. So the network was getting a percentage of their AdSense, but nothing was really happening for them. That being said, I am definitely not like anti-networks by any means. Like I said, I've had good experiences with them. I just want to advise, if you are a content creator, to not be starstruck if a network's email shows up in your inbox. Like, oh my gosh, a network wants to represent me. Breathe, look at all the pros and the cons and really put on your business cap and be like, all right, is this genuinely a good idea for me? And the way that I would kind of say to weigh that out would be like, your size. If you kind of have a sizable following already, because then they're probably going to be able to and want to make money off of you. It's the first thing. Or if you aren't that sizable, like you don't have a huge audience, but you're like, dude, I have a super specific niche. I'm already really well connected. They really seem like they know exactly what to do with me. That's another good thing too, because I've seen some networks do some really great stuff with YouTubers that aren't necessarily as big number-wise, but they know exactly what to do with them. So yeah, it just kind of depends. So that's what a network is. And yeah, with that being said, I love how I opened one Twitter question and I literally went on a tangent for like 15 minutes. So the next Twitter question that I'm going to answer this is a really good one. This is something I know I had to do so much freaking research on to figure out. And this says, how do you put music on your videos without worrying about copyright? All right. Here's the thing. There's a couple ways to go about this, and if you are a content creator and you know of another way, feel free to leave that in the comment section. But for me, the way that I go about doing this is I use royalty-free music, and that is a phrase that you're going to want to remember because you can Google that. So there's a lot of different ways to go about getting that. So all of the music, it's supposed to be anyways, on like your iMovie or GarageBand, like those little loops that come in, that's all royalty-free music. And actually you will often hear commercials on television or radio shows playing that music because they don't actually have to pay anyone to use it. It's royalty-free. There are also royalty-free websites. I will go ahead and link some of those down below, some of the ones that I personally use. There's a really great website that I actually found through my network called Audio Network, or maybe it's called Audio Music Network. No, I think it's called Audio Network. Either way, I'm going to link it down below. That is actually a subscription fee though to sign up to that site, but they have an obscene amount of really great high quality music that you can use and your video won't get flagged and you will still get paid from AdSense. So that is how people do it. They use royalty free music and there are a lot of different places to find it. But Audio Network has been the place that I used for a long time and I highly recommend them because I never got flagged. The music quality is great. Bowser, stop sniffing Zoe's crotch. And yeah, so that's a really good question. This is actually funny. This is not about being a YouTuber, but someone asked if Dan and I separate the check or if it is my money. I'm just going to answer that really briefly because it's not really like an industry question, but I thought that's interesting. And this is from at Aubrey1423. Both these questions are from her, and it's actually like it's our joint money for two reasons. A, we're married. For us, what's his is mine, what's mine is his. That's how we operate. But also, he is such a huge part of this business, and it is definitely a family business. I could not do this without him, not only just from the practical side of things, like he does all the editing on the vlog channel, and he does a lot of the email stuff and like negotiations, and he goes to meetings with me, but also just the support too on top of that. So it's definitely a joint thing. There's so many good questions, guys. So at Buy Your Bee Self says, what is the process involved with coming up with a video? What are all the steps? So this process for me has changed many different times over the course of being on YouTube. But that being said, as of lately, like for How to Be Happy January, the way that I have been operating this month is I charted out all the things that I think makes someone happy. So this is specific to this month. What makes me happy, the things that I do to, pursue happiness, wrote all those down. So I had ideas. Out of that bunch, or out of those things, I kind of started to form video ideas around those concepts, because I try, even if it seems shallow, to base my video concepts around like a purpose. I know most people probably do that, but this is just my thought process. I try to think, all right, so what is kind of the core thing going on here? And then I come up with just an idea. It's like, oh yeah, well that's a good idea because that fits in with that. And then I pre-filmed a couple videos, but the rest of them, I've honestly just kept this list. And then day by day, like this is being filmed the same day it goes up, I have been trying to see what I feel like doing off that list as the days go on. And then I kind of think a little bit ahead, like, well, what is the next thing that's coming up? So I'm always kind of looking at the next video that's happening, how everything kind of fits together, and honestly, what I genuinely feel like doing. Because even though I'm totally guilty of filming at times when I do not feel like it, I really strive, especially more and more as time goes on, to only film when I am genuinely feeling it and doing whatever I have to do to genuinely feel it, because I think that it's the genuineness that's important, and so I strive for that. I may not always achieve that. Maybe sometimes I feel in a poopy mood and I film, but I strive to be like, dude, I don't need to look perfect. It doesn't need to be this. It doesn't need to be that. I just need to genuinely be in the right space and happy. And I love what I do, so I don't really want to be permanently recording myself on the internet if I'm not in that mood. So I'll do something to get in that mood, and then do it because it is recorded on the internet. So I don't know if that was very helpful. I think everyone's process is different. There is not really a science for creativity. I mean, I was just talking to Cami about that because she's learning editing, like video editing this week for stuff that's happening on the website. And I told her, I'm like, dude, it's kind of like, if the word is like Jimmy rigging it, it's just kind of like what works for you. You only figure out what works for you by doing it, and then that's your process. At least that's what I found. So, wow, this is a great question, although I don't have an answer. But at Leviosa, Sarah, she says, how do you separate YouTube time from off time when so much of your life is filmed and online? That's funny because the question right before that from at Horse9Girls was very similar. Is YouTube really a full-time job, or do you have a lot of off time or lots of time off work? So here's the thing. I don't have an answer for that yet, because when it is a lot of time, I would say that most of my life is spent thinking or creating or writing notes or replying to tweets or emailing or coming up with concepts or filming or editing or uploading or learning a new program. I'm like so sick of learning new technology, but I'm like, you have to do it. That's the only way you can create. Most of my life is spent doing that stuff. And when I've gone through more negative seasons, because it doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter what you do. Everyone goes through negative seasons. And when I've gone through negative seasons, it's been like, I never have any off work time. But when I'm in positive seasons, like How to Be Happy January, I have been really Bowser, he's crazy. So How to Be Happy January, I've been in a really just good place for the last few weeks, and even though that's still what I do all day, every single day, it hasn't felt like work. So in one sense, for me personally, yeah, I'm not that great at schedule time for multiple reasons. I guess I don't really have off time that much, but it kind of just depends what you consider off. Dan's the one that said that to me before. He's like, but dude, you just can't look at it as work. You just look at it as fun, because it is fun. So I think a lot of the discipline, and I honestly think this goes for a lot of people in the entertainment industry who do things personality-wise, it's just about staying in a really good mental place, and it's about mental discipline and trying to not let yourself be like, oh, it's like work, or like, when am I ever off, or what am I doing? It's like, dude, no, I have a fun job. It's not work. I'm like creating content. I'm getting to do art, and I'm tweeting, and I'm talking to people and commenting with people, and like, it's really for me about how I look at it. That being said, I am very protective, and at least I try to be. Sometimes I slip up, and when I slip up, I feel it, but I'm very protective about my Sabbath. I really try to take one day every single week where, even though this is a blast and I love it, I try to take one day a week where I'm not doing it, simply because, like I said, I don't think it matters what the heck you're doing. You can get burnt out, in my opinion, on anything. Anything you are doing, you can get to a point where you're like, I just don't want to freaking do it anymore because I've just been doing this so freaking much. If you ate burgers every single day and burgers were your favorite food, at a certain point you would probably start to resent burgers. So it's kind of the same thing. I can't picture really doing much of anything else that I would love more than what I'm doing, but I notice every time that I don't take a Sabbath, once I've gone like 8, 9, 10 days and I have not stopped being on like my phone or the computer, even though it's my passion, I start to resent it. I start to feel like a slave, and I'm so far, like a slave to technology, and I'm so far from that being the case. Like, I'm not a slave to technology. This is such a blessing. I do what I love, that I have to be protective of my one day off. And I actually think that is for everyone on the planet that does everything. It's super important. Side note, like a religious note, one of the 10 commandments says, like, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. And it's kind of crazy that like the other commandments are like, do not murder, do not commit adultery. And it's like, take a day off. And I think it just says a lot on like, wow, that's probably really important. And I've just noticed it, that is exactly what happens. So I wish I had a clearer answer for you, kind of in all these answers. I'm just blabbering, but yeah. So this is a good question. At Just a Girl 91 says, does it get stressful to think of video ideas? Like, do you get YouTuber block, if that's a thing? It kind of goes back to that mental thing. If I'm in a good mental place, no. I feel like the strangeness of YouTube, and especially like just the nature of what I do on my channel, it's not really like created content. You know what I mean? So like who's a good example? Like a mystery guitar man. He makes such brilliant creative content that is very much around, you know, very specific creative elements. I think that that's probably very hard. You know what I mean? But I could be like, oh man, I'm gonna show everyone what I did in the shower today. It's kind of different. So if I start to get stressed out at all about my content, I honestly remind myself, I'm like, doesn't matter what I do, I just need to make a video. And I just push myself to make a video about just something that's making me happy and that I enjoy. And that's kind of what I do. And sometimes, you know, it's like throwing spaghetti at the wall. Sometimes it hits and sticks, and sometimes it just doesn't really work. I don't know, that was a horrible analogy. But yeah, that's kind of, yeah, that's what I do. Oh, that's a good one. At Leah Callagher, do you ever wish you had an office to go to, and do you feel cooped up? So this is interesting. I recently have started realizing that in order for me to be super productive throughout the day and not hit a wall halfway through and feel like, wow, I really wish I was not in my home 24 hours a day, I notice I just have to get up and I have to go to the gym in the morning. I listen to a podcast, I get my tea, and that's what I do. And what I notice that does is it thrusts me into being around other people right off the bat. So I kind of get into a different energy. Because if I'm just alone all day and I get up and talk to a camera, it's almost like I forget I'm not in the right place of what it's like to be around other people. You know what I mean? And working out creates energy, and yeah, I get like my little fix. And plus, now I have the point where like Shayna and Cammie come over, so I'm around them, and I have Dan and the dogs. But if I do get stir crazy, I go to a coffee shop, because you guys know I'm obsessed with tea. So that's what I do. But honestly, you should see, the dogs are lounging on this little lounge chair right now. They're so cute. Bowser, no. So another person said, at Macy T16, she said, do you ever wish you had an office to go to? Do you feel, oh no, wait, what? I just read that. Do you just carry your camera everywhere? Yes, I do carry my camera everywhere. So, and if I forgot it, I use my iPhone, which is why I upgraded to the newest iPhone when it came out, because I guess I didn't really need to. I mean, it had some glitches, but it had the new camera. Zoe, do not hump your brother. So I got it for the camera so that if I don't have a camera, I can still like create content, like take photos or vlog or whatever, and it's still a good quality camera. So I have it with me everywhere. This is good. At Mers Loves Makeup, how often do you film? I film anywhere, it fluctuates throughout the year, but I would say 4 to 6 days a week I film. It just kind of depends for multiple reasons. A, we make a lot of videos. If you're subscribed to all 3 channels, plus some new stuff is happening on the website, we make a ton of videos. We film everything. We're doing real life. I sit down and film stuff. I film actual like created content. We film so much. So 4 to 6 days a week, I would say. And yeah, that's the end of that question. This is a good question. And this might be the last question unless I see something else pop up that I think I need to answer. This is from @Dizzy Daydreaming, and she says, or you daydream in, excuse me. She says, how do you deal with people disliking what you do, and how can you distract yourself from it? Okay, so this advice that I have comes from my dad and Dan. So you have to remember a couple things. First off, no matter what you do or what you say, someone somewhere is going to dislike it. And the larger, like the more people that you're around, like your chances just go up. So maybe you're around like 3 people and they all really like you, but then next thing the 4th person doesn't. So it doesn't matter. The thing is, all of us have like functioning brains that like deduct and make decisions and whatever. So that just means everyone has an opinion. And I think that the key to dealing with all of this, like how I've had to deal with it, is like my dad said, learning whose opinion to value. Because everyone can have an opinion, it's learning like, well, do I value this random stranger on the internet, like that they think I'm fugly, or do I just think that they think I'm fugly? Whatever. A, there's no one on the planet that everyone thinks is beautiful. Not a single person. B, also, side note, there sometimes is good criticism in hater comments. So sometimes also something might feel like a hate comment and it's actually not even a hate comment. It just like, it feels so awkward to get it. And so sometimes I'll get comments and I'm like, you know what? That's actually like, there's something good to garner from that. So I may not like that whole comment, but you kind of have a good point in saying that. So the way that I deal with it, first off, also keep in mind, I'm not like, miss like, oh, I just deal with it great all the time, because I have had plenty of like sobbing breakdowns. When I did my Wrecking Ball music video, I got so much hate. I got the most thumbs up I've ever gotten on a video in 24 hours ever, but I also got the most thumbs down I've ever gotten in a video in 24 hours ever. And I had a really hard time with that. And I remember talking to my dad, and my dad thinks it's kind of funny. He's like, dude, A, welcome to art. B, welcome to your industry. And he was like, see, who cares? He was like, did you have fun? I was like, I had so much fun making it. He was like, then that's all that matters. It doesn't really matter. He was like, it's all about having fun. And honestly, people might not like things for a myriad of reasons. You don't really know. And it's just a YouTube video. So those are the ways that I deal with it. And having like supportive family is really helpful, because they just don't really take it that seriously, like hate and stuff like that. And really what qualifies as hate, I don't know. I'm starting to get on a tangent, but yeah, those are my thoughts. And Dan is really helpful too, because I swear Dan, like most of his life, doesn't care what people think about him. So I'm little miss like, I just want everybody to like me. And he's like, dude, who cares? I'm like a horse with blinders on. I just keep going forward. So we're very opposite. He has helped a lot. My dad has helped a lot. Just my family in general. They're all just, my mom, if you're watching. And yeah, that's how I've dealt with it. Just kidding. This is going to be my last question. Or my last thing that I'm going to answer, because this is starting to get freaking crazy, man. This is going to be really hard to edit. And if you guys end up wanting me to do another one of these videos, just go ahead and let me know in the comment section, because I don't really know. I've just been talking. I don't know what I actually covered and what I may have skipped. But I feel like this is a good way to kind of end this topic. And this is from Rebecca Lauren 01. And she says, what advice do you have for someone who's trying to make YouTube their job? And this is my closing piece of advice. A, make content. Figure out what you like, what you don't like, your style. Learn how to make content. B, make content. Even if you think, oh, I don't have a nice enough camera. Oh, I'm not comfortable talking in front of the camera. you only get comfortable and you only graduate in things in life by doing the best that you have with what you have. I started my YouTube videos on my iPhone. Then I graduated to my MacBook Pro. Then I graduated to a camera that had a flip out screen. Then I graduated to a DSLR. And now we have like a bajillion and 12 cameras that we like switch between depending on what we're making. But we slowly kind of rose up. Also, when I started YouTube, we were living in my parents' guest room and only living off Dan's income. And we went from that to being able to afford to move out, to being able to have Dan leave his job to do this, to being able to hire my sister, to, as of this week, hiring a second employee, to, if things go well, don't hold me to it, you guys know I say a lot and don't, whatever, I want to hire 1 or 2 more people this year, another person for more, like creative stuff, like with editing and merch design and website stuff, and possibly like an administrative person, because when you're running your own business, you have to do things like keep all your receipts, because everything that you buy that goes on camera and is actually making you an income is a tax write-off. So all of those receipts have to be kept. They all have to be scanned, filed away, sent to our tax guy. Yeah, I'm getting on another tangent, but that is my advice. Make content, because the only way you learn how to do this like weird job is by doing it, because you have to learn from experience and you can't really prepare enough in your head. Now, speaking of your head, on top of creating content, research everything you can. I freaking watched every single video. I read every single article from everyone on YouTube who made content, who had ever done an interview or spoken up about how they made this their job. I learned as much as I could. YouTube itself actually creates content where they talk about AdSense and how to get more views and how to get more subscribers, which, like I said, I linked my videos down below where I talked about my history, all that, and how I got like some traction on YouTube. But research, just like you would for a normal job that you were trying to make your job or career, you would read industry stuff, you would learn all about it. So that is the other thing. On top of actually taking action, researching and learning about this industry is good, because it is an ever-changing, growing, rapidly moving industry. Digital media. And I'm not just talking about YouTube, but yeah, digital media in general. So that would be my advice. Make content and research. So I really hope this was helpful to you guys, to everyone out there who is creating content or wants to create content. I know there are so many of you guys out there. And yeah, also guys, next week I have a video going up with Talk Becky Talk, and we filmed a video about how to make a career change and how to actually take the leap of following your dreams, because she made a massive career change recently. So she is a living, breathing example of jumping in, like just head first and doing it. And so she came out, we filmed this video, and I think that it will really, like, it's good for that video to follow this video, because if this is something that you're like, dude, like I could do that, or I'm gonna apply those tips, she talks about the action of following through and doing it. So that is going up next week. And then there are, yeah, a bunch of other stuff. There may or may not be another Nikki Goes Blonde going up next week as well. So, yeah, be sure to join the conversation, guys, if you want to, on Instagram and Twitter using the hashtag HowToBeHappyJanuary. We still have a few more weeks left, and it has been so cool seeing everything you guys contribute on there, what you're doing in your life, all of the quotes that you have been loving and sending in, and all those things. It's been really awesome to, yeah, see you guys input. So, that's it, guys. So I will see you all later. I'm gonna go edit this now and upload it. And yeah, have a great rest of the day, guys. Bye.